Hello, everyone. I'm Kenneth Ryan.
I'm Linz.
It doesn't even show up.
And I'm Bethany.
And we're back with another episode of the Friends Forever podcast. We missed last week because scheduling is hard to do with the four of us, but we're here this week. And it's appropriate because the topic is a continuation of our topic from a month ago of women's and gender issues, specifically focusing more on the women's issue with a more focus on feminism itself, because it's March, and March is Women's History Month. And I think that there's a lot of good that could come out of this, because considering that 3 of the 4 of us here are women, and I'm an open feminist, so I like to think that, like, yeah.
He's one of the girls.
I'm just one of the girls. Just
she literally referred to you that the other day, though, when we were
I did.
Just
sure, Kenny's just one of the girls, and I was like, you're right.
I don't...
Was it when we were at Walmart?
Don't take offense
We were
to
still
that.
just sitting on your stairs.
love... Can I point out, because we brought it up almost every episode of this podcast, I love that when we're hanging out as a group, we just talk about the people who aren't there, and we're like, man, wouldn't they like this?
Yeah, like, if 3 of the 4 of us are hanging out, we'll, like, just talk about the 4th one. Like, and be like, oh, yeah, like, they said this, or they would like this thing, or, yeah.
Like, man, I wish they were here, because they would have appreciated that joke.
Exactly. Yep. We're tight.
Yeah.
We need to just bring a camera along and just have just record our conversations and then show it to
And
just
send it to them
like
and be like, "This is
live
what you
stream, like get a
missed."
GoPro and live stream everywhere
my
we go,
God.
and we're just like tune in.
Just like when we're driving, just set a camera on the dash and just film us all as we're just driving around talking about the
Just
other person.
always FaceTime constantly, like we never
that's
are.
so extra. That is literally so extra, and I'm about it actually.
Oh my gosh.
But refocusing, we're gonna talk about feminism and women in history and just anything related to Women's History Month, because like it's cool. I'd like to start by talking about how I saw a commercial that was showing a bunch of like influential women, and it was like for eye drops. It was a commercial for eye drops, and it's like, and the literal text that I had to read with my own 2 eyes was, "Before we had our voice, we had our eyes."
That's so stupid.
And I was so triggered. I was like, ooh, no, I'm over this.
What does that even mean?
You tell me, but it was like, don't let your dry eyes, like,
That's so stupid.
yeah, it was rough. I'm pretty sure I had a
Before
stank
we
face
had
on.
our voice, we had our eyes.
Yep. You tell me how that's... And then the tagline was eye-powerment.
That's the dumbest thing
Yep.
I have ever heard.
Yep.
That's
your own 2 ears.
eye-powerment. That's so stupid, too, because, like, we had our eyes, we could see. We didn't have a voice, we were worthless, but we could see. What? What is that message? Oh my gosh.
Your eyes are more important than
eye-powerment
your voice.
than having a voice. Solid.
Come on, like, you're not already aware of that? Like, what?
Women should be seen and not heard. You right.
Oh, man,
I don't
yeah.
think that's what they
Come
were
on.
going for.
No, I definitely had a stank face, though, and I was like, okay.
Stank face.
Just like, this is a segue, but I was watching YouTube videos as I do, and one of the ads, I tweeted about this, but one of the ads I had to listen to was, "Depression is more than sadness." And I was like,
Yes.
I literally was like, I tweeted, and I was
Mind
like,
blown.
and I was like, this is literally an advertisement that I had to listen to with my own 2 ears. Like, I couldn't
What was
skip it.
For?
No idea, because I skipped it after 5 seconds. But, like, in the 5 seconds, they were like, "Depression is more than sadness."
I hate
I'm like,
ads you can't
yep.
skip.
Yep.
30-second ads you
Ooh.
can't skip.
If whenever they were like
Ooh.
advertisements for like 50 Shades Darker, I would just refresh the page and over and over again until I found something else.
That's fair.
That's amazing. Oh my god.
Does 50 Shades Darker count as a feminist film?
No.
Discuss.
No.
I mean,
Right.
I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah.
It's a Twilight fan fiction.
Ooh. So basically, we should read 50 Shades of Grey on the show.
I've never read it or seen the movie because I didn't
Yeah.
care because I know it's rapey and
Oh yeah, no.
I've watched like everything wrong with it and it's like blah blah, blah and it's like he's interested in like a BDSM relationship with her or whatever.
Okay.
And she had is using some generic web browser to search for all this for like random kinky shit. But then they're going over the contract and stuff, and she's like, "What's a butt plug?" And it's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you that you don't know what a butt plug is?"
What human adult female doesn't know what a butt plug is?
If
Like,
you're
what
if you're
human?
Googling stuff to find out what BDSM is and stuff, how would you not find that?
Yeah, no, butt plug would be like the first thing that shows up.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And then she was like, "Oh, show me your worst or whatever," and blah blah blah. And then he like hits her, he spanks her like really hard for a long time. And then she's like, "Never do this to me again," or whatever. Blah blah. It's like you wanted to enter this relationship with him. You knew what you were getting into.
I think what she wanted. This is my interpretation from my vague understanding.
Yeah,
Christian
my
Grey
vague
is
understanding
super
too.
fucking wealthy, right?
Yes.
I think she's in it for the money. She wanted a sugar daddy, and she's like, "Oh, all I have to do is be like in a BDSM relationship. Whatever, the money's worth it."
And how they like meet or whatever. She's going to interview him for a friend because the friend was sick or something, and then he doesn't even ask who she is or whatever. And she's like,
Wow.
one of the questions she literally asks him, "Are you gay?" And it's like,
Why would you ask that of someone in a business interview?
Yeah.
Also, why would you just ask that of somebody in general? Like, what?
Just all the things
Well,
I've heard that are wrong
the
with this
straights
movie.
trademark
Just all the
tend to do that.
just
Shut
all the
up.
things that I've heard that is wrong with this movie. It's like, oh god. And
Oh my God.
And he like doesn't listen to her safe word or whatever, and blah blah blah, and I don't know. Stuff
Ooh,
happens.
yikes. Yeah, no. If you and a consenting partner establish a safe word, you should stick to the safe
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, that's shit.
And
Because,
he's,
like, that exists for a
And
reason.
he's like super controlling before she even signs the contract or whatever. He's Edward Cullen. Because it's a Twilight fanfiction. It was literally a Twilight fanfiction before she changed the names and made it a book.
Oh my god.
Like, legit.
That's
Oh my god.
disturbing.
So, he's Edward Cullen, but rich. Or-
Okay. Yeah, they're rich
But an adult.
in Twilight. But an
Wow,
adult.
okay, that's wild. So is he a vampire then?
no.
Okay.
He's just a businessman.
Wow. Not Stephanie
And she's
Meyer,
somehow
it's
attractive enough that he's interested in her, even though she's the most boring person on the planet.
E.L. James.
E.L. James. Wild. I can't believe it.
I'm just going off on this book. Oh,
No,
then
that's
there's
fair.
like the video of like Gilbert Gottfried reading lines from this book.
Yeah, I've seen
Like
that.
the bad lines.
Gilbert Godfrey is a fucking gift.
Isn't
I
there
love
a line
him.
where he like licks his eyebrow or something?
Ew.
There's a line because I saw a post that was like the signs as quotes from 50 Shades of Grey, and I think Gemini's was like, when I woke up, Christian Grey had somehow managed to fit an entire orange into my mouth.
Wait, that's not a real thing.
Apparently it is. I don't care enough to look it up, but I like to pretend it is.
How? Okay.
Feminism.
What
It,
the?
so clearly the verdict is 50 Shades of Grey is not a feminist book.
When people are like, oh, it helps these people, it helps women explore their sexuality in this taboo way or whatever. It's like, no, it's rape.
That's no. Also, I think we as a society have
She's not smart enough to consent to this.
right,
these
and also I would like to argue we as a society have grown enough to be like, oh, BDSM isn't like that wild. Like to some people it's wild, but like when I think about it, if I like had friends that are like, yeah, we do BDSM, I'd be like, all right, cool, good for you. Like I don't
also
care.
like your generation or our generation.
Your generation.
Hi.
How much older than us do you think you are?
I am 80 years old.
She is like the oldest.
Hello.
And you're the youngest.
That's
so.
true. There's a
that's true.
generational divide.
A whole
In Korea, you'd be
9
an entire
months.
year different.
Oh my god, you're right.
We're like 22
No, it's like
in
6
Korea,
months.
I think.
Because you're
Me and you.
June. Wait,
No, we'd be 21.
No.
you're June and I'm
It
December.
starts at 1 or whatever, and then it's like, I don't know.
Every New Year?
What?
Every year. The entire year is like counted as that age level.
So I'm a year older than all of you.
Yes, so we have to respect you and shit.
Ooh, respect
Asian-
me, bitches.
Asian culture's cool.
Otherwise, we're all the same age the entire year, pretty much.
Weird. Okay, so I'm even though it's like literally like 7 or 8 days.
Yeah.
I'm a year older than
Yeah,
you
you'd be
guys.
seen as a year older. Wow, that's crazy. So therefore, we would have to respect you just because of that, like more than we respect each other.
Ha!
Just
I love it.
intrinsically.
I just like when you guys are like 94 or 96 and I'm like 95.
16 days.
Wow. Aren't you special? You have a
I'm
5
super
instead of a
special.
6.
Hell yeah. I'm
Amazing.
older than you.
I mean,
6s are cooler.
Whatever.
Magic 1995.
We are rambling far away.
Yeah,
from
this is
Feminism.
feminism.
Women's
So,
issues.
ooh, should we open the bag of worms that is abortion? Because
Oh my god, Penny.
I
Holy
just
shit.
Is there a post or something?
That's like just diving straight
no,
in.
because in my women's and gender studies class, that's what we were reading about very recently. That was like the most recent topic. Alternatively, we could talk about women in the labor force, because that was also something we recently read. We watched a video about Rosie the Riveter, and about how, like, men wanted women to work, but then when the war was ending, they wanted women to not work anymore, and then, like, women were getting pissed because, like, they were like, I'm just as qualified as a welder as him, the only difference is I don't have a penis. And then, dude, the 50s and 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s were wild in terms of...
Yeah.
Oh my god. And also, here's a trigger. I saw a post on Facebook, the cesspool that is Facebook.
Oh god.
And it was a picture of, like, a woman and her child from a magazine, like a cartoon drawing from 1956.
Yikes, that's not gonna be
And
good.
it was comparing it to a picture of, like, it's clearly propaganda. It's like this trailer trashy look. Like, she looks like she's out of Trailer Park Boys. That's why I use the term trailer trash. She's, like, clearly pregnant, smoking and drinking as her, like, young child is running around in just their underwear by her. And it's like, what happened to parenting? And I'm like, well, the couple, like, the child and the parent on the left aren't even a real, like, they're not real, they're a drawing. And I think the kicker on the post was, it had a red circle in it, and it said, "Stop Hillary 2K17."
Oh god, Abby.
as though Hillary Clinton is what is wrong with parenting. It was so funny.
That's terrifying.
That's a look.
That might be the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yes, visual humor works well on a podcast.
Yeah.
Abby. Oh my god, but like
take a
The
picture of
lighting was
Abby
great.
and insert it into the podcast. now.
Abby's on it.
Abby, take a selfie right now.
Okay, but like
Yes. Lindsay, take a picture.
I really just want to point this
Sounds
out
like on the floor.
because it's so funny and so abstract and like you're comparing something that's
But your
not
phone didn't
real
This is my old phone.
to something that is real.
Oh,
I had a point. Oh, my point is like, just like everyone looks at the 50s like they were
really
this golden
blurry.
era, but they weren't. They they were the furthest thing from it.
The 50s or the 60s, I think people.
The 60s is when like a lot of the movements
That
start
was
taking
like
forward.
golden age. Well, like the early 60s, like when we were, well, the 50s too, I suppose. Yeah, because we were making like cars and like we were the richest we've ever been, and like,
and then
my history's
And then Trump
please.
happened.
not even, it's not even that. It's a lot of things. I think a lot of it started actually, if we're gonna delve into politics, I think it started with Reagan. I think he was the start of a lot of problems. I think, but I don't quote me because I obviously wasn't alive. It should
My
be.
history of
No.
the 60s class was super interesting, like learning, because we learned a bit about the 50s and about the 70s too, but just like learning about it's like a really interesting period in America where like, yeah, in the 50s and early 60s, like it was the richest America's ever been because it was like post-war and we were like making so much stuff, and like almost everyone had this really high standard of living. Like you didn't have to like have higher education to like be able to afford like a house and a car and like you know, live like well off as like a family with like kids and stuff, and only like one parent working, and like really interesting in that way, but then like so turbulent with like how much stuff like went on in like this like the late 60s and early 70s. Like it was crazy, like civil rights and feminism in Vietnam and just like all kinds of, I don't know, it's a really interesting period in history. But when in that class we like talked about like feminism and stuff, and like they were like, oh yeah, well, you know, like a woman couldn't have a credit card in the 60s, and I was like, what?
No, that's absolutely true. They had
Like,
to have their husband's consent. The husband had to sign.
Like that blew my mind. Like how far
Because women
we
can't
come.
control themselves when spending money, Bethany.
It also
It
pertains.
was just insane.
Right. It also
like,
pertains
how few
to,
rights women had
to birth
And,
control.
Like you like they could literally be like, you know, posting a job men only.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you walked in and you were a woman, they could be like, we don't hire women. And that could be their only justification for not... And I was like, what the...
Yeah.
I can't believe
Yeah.
that was a thing. Like, that like, women's rights is such a recent movement, like, blows my mind. Like, I know it hasn't even been 100 years since we've had the right to vote, but I was still just like... I don't know. I thought that we had more rights than that more recently, but we didn't. Like, we really didn't.
No.
It's insane. Like, how far it's come so recently.
In the Rosie the Riveter video I watched, post-war, there was this one woman who was applying to be a welder, and the man at the application desk, or whatever, looked at her application, looked up at her and said, if you were a man, I would hire you. But you're not a man, so you're not meant to weld. And he handed back her resume and was like, I'm sorry. This is a job for men. It's not for you.
Crazy.
And then when we were talking about abortion and birth control rights, like, unmarried women couldn't get it. It was not allowed. And if you were married, your husband had to consent to it, your doctor had to consent, and it was a time where, like, if the doctor was suspecting that you would be someone who's seeking an abortion, he could lie to you about your pregnancy and stuff.
What do you mean?
Like, he'd say you're not pregnant, even though you were, because they think that you'd get an abortion.
No, they can lie to... There's also, like, a law in Texas very recently that went through that said if a doctor in Texas suspects a woman of seeking an abortion, he can, like, lie to her about the state of her pregnancy. Like if the pregnancy would be damaging to the child or to the mother, they can tell you that it's going fine. To prevent an abortion. I think it just passed, or it's, like, being voted on very recently in Texas.
Why would that be a thing?
Well, because...
this baby might potentially kill you, but just because we think you might get an abortion, if you think that this baby's going to kill you, we're not going to tell you that it's going to kill you.
Right.
Insane.
Right. This is why the readings for the abortion section of Women's and Gender Studies was very triggering, because, like, the extremist pro-life movement is completely detrimental to their own cause, because they're, like, pro-life, right? Like, they're supposed to be encouraging life, but they're, like, killing people who perform abortions, and they're, like, harassing and, like, physically harming people.
I'm just thinking Clockwork and the Ego Terrorist.
You're right.
Why am I thinking?
Because it's a very similar, like, it's contradictory to what they're preaching.
And I've seen, like, a couple things now, too, that I, like... was voicing something that I've been thinking for a while, but put it more eloquently than I could, is that a lot of people who are very pro-life are also the people who are very anti-welfare, or, like, things that would literally help, like you're like, even though you can't take care of this baby and you're addicted to drugs, and, like, all these things where it's like, she probably shouldn't have this baby, but you're gonna force her to have this baby. But then once she has this baby, you don't want to take care of her welfare. You don't want to have to support this, like, all these things where you're like, you're pro-life just so that this life gets brought into the world, but then you don't care about the life after it.
Right.
Which is, like, completely messed up.
It's completely
It doesn't make any sense.
I had
so
this...
it's like, if you're gonna take the responsibility to force someone else to have this responsibility, then you also have to follow through.
I don't believe in food stamps,
like,
or
health
insurance.
But you need to have all these babies.
Yeah.
Like,
literally about a year ago to the date, I had an argument with some people who I won't name about, like, welfare, and it was an argument where they're like, well, the people who abuse it, who don't actually need it, but they're abusing it so they don't have to work or whatever, like, why are we paying tax dollars for them? And I was like, well, because majoritively, statistically, people on welfare that are getting it actually need it.
Yeah.
And are looking for jobs and are following all the rules. It's the very few who are abusing it that I'm okay with, because majoritively my tax dollars are helping people who need the help.
yeah, and, like, just because some people are abusing it, I don't think that means we take it away from everyone.
Right.
I think you can, sure, try and work for, like, better systems that prevent abuse.
The amount of your tax money that actually goes towards that
It's
instead of other
insubstantial.
stuff is barely anything.
I think majoritively, don't quote me on this because I'm not an expert, but I think almost majoritively a lot of our tax dollars go to military spending.
I'm sure.
Because we are currently deployed in, like, how many countries? Our military spending's through the roof. It wouldn't surprise me if majoritively, percentage-wise, most of what we're paying for is that.
Probably, yeah. But it's also, and I think that goes back to, too, like, with the whole, you know, not following through with this kid, like, and, okay, so if you don't want all these kids on welfare, then I think, again, the answer is not, like, being like, oh, you have to have these babies and stuff, it's preventing unwanted pregnancies in the first place. It's like
Yeah.
the issue. Like
Make
not
birth
whether
control
or not
available to people.
It's like, 'cause abortion is a bad thing. Like, I very much am like, okay, yeah, killing, killing/not killing, ending, terminating any kind of pregnancy, not a great thing. Pretty sure anyone who has an abortion, wouldn't say it was a great experience. It sucks. But, like, I don't know, making somebody feel bad about that, just, like, avoiding the situation in the first place is very much, like, the answer, rather than, like, all the making people feel horrible for this thing that they're already going to feel not great about, and just, I don't know.
This is why I'm very vocally anti the defunding of Planned Parenthood, because Planned Parenthood provides so many services outside of abortions, but that's all people like to focus on, is that, like, ooh, they're a place you can go to get a medically safe abortion if you need one. But they also provide, like, free condoms, which help prevent pregnancy. They do, like, breast exams, which will help keep women alive by searching for breast cancer. They do, like, pap smears, all these, like, very, very helpful medical things for women. And, like,
and usually for women who can't afford it or normally.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, their organization is called Planned Parenthood. Their whole statement is to help people plan how to be parents, or how to plan to delay a pregnancy, or, like, use birth control effectively so they can determine when they're ready for children. Like, there's so much more to it, and I will fight for Planned Parenthood with all the strength that I have, because I believe very, very strongly in what they're doing, and they're helping provide a needed service to people. They're like, hey, condoms, do you need them because you want to have sex but not have kids? Go for it. Which is another thing that people were like, well, if you don't want kids, don't have sex. It's like, okay.
That's so stupid.
Shut the fuck up, Cindy. Your middle class white ass can afford condoms and spermicides. But that doesn't mean that poorer people aren't allowed to enjoy sex and have sex when they want it. Like, they should be allowed to have access to the same kinds of birth control, because
birth control's so expensive.
It's like, oh, if you don't want to be hungry, just eat. And it's like, well, not everybody can afford to eat, you jackass. Like,
It's like, oh, you're homeless? Buy a house.
Yeah, exactly. It's like coming from such a, like
that
stupid...
toilet paper I got.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
From the Youper.
Oh my
The
god.
Youper
It's still hanging on my wall.
Yeah,
I love
it.
that.
I love it too.
Just
I
a
can't
decoration.
use it. It's just it's a part of my home decor now.
Or just get some more money or whatever. It's like,
right? Get another job, and it's like, you know how many poor people already work 2 jobs? And they're struggling still because we don't have a livable minimum wage?
That's like somebody was talking at the my campus ministry at school one time about like going through life the easiest way is to, like, just go through college and then get a job, and, like, they're just talking about how it's like that's the easiest way to go through life.
afford college.
Right?
And my pastor was like, just thinking about that, she was like, I don't remember how she said it. She phrased it really well. She was just like you have a lot, or not even saying it like that, but, like, that's like you have to have a very privileged viewpoint to see it, like, or like that comes from like a privileged viewpoint. It's like, yeah, saying that the easiest
Just
way
go
to
to college
just
and
go
get
to
a
college,
job.
just get a job.
It's not.
Just go to this couple $20,000 a semester college for 4 years straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
to get a degree and then get a job.
But there's no guarantee. Like, that's something that's been pushed so strongly now with the new economy that we're entering
it's like,
into.
hey, get this degree in this thing, then find a job in something completely different.
Right. And it's just, there's no guarantee, so going to college is understandably a risk.
Because my sister, looking at colleges. My sister, who's looking at colleges, she looked into, like, statistics and whatnot, and apparently by the time she graduates college, she'll be over $250,000 in debt for, like, a regular,
Hell yeah.
like, system school, like the regular state system, not even like a private,
Like a
college.
UW school?
Yeah,
That's insane.
would cost her like $250,000.
Northwestern costs $250,000.
Total?
Because it's $65,000 a year, so 6 times 4 is 24. Plus
Fun fact, your per year is my 4
Total.
years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't pay. Oh, girl, I do not pay.
No, I know. I'm living off that student financial
that
aid.
financial aid is saving my bacon.
That's the only way I... And it's a false sense of security because I'm like, oh, I can afford this. And then, like, I get the, like, every semester notification of, like, this is how much you've accumulated. And you're like... I have to pay that back.
Oh, loan notifications are.
I mean, I dropped out after 2 years, so far. And I have, like, it was like $12,000 that I was just in debt.
Ouch.
That I owed on just the loans and stuff.
Ouch.
I mean, it's only like...
That's about where I'm at.
$130 some per month, which isn't that bad, actually. It's like a 10-year plan.
Right.
So you're paying for college for 10 years. After, like, literally every month. Like, our boss, his husband, he's paying, like, $900, like, a month or something.
Holy crap.
He went for 5 years
He went for 5 years to Madison.
So they're paying, like, $900 a month.
Financial aid is shit,
in addition to
still.
car payments, having children, paying for a house, all the other expenses that they have.
One of their kids has, like, cancer and is like...
Yeah, it's...
Oh, my God.
Like, their situation is rough, and every time I think about my own life... I sometimes think about theirs and I'm like, I don't have it as bad as I think I do. And then I get really sad because I want to help them, but I'm not in a position where I can.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know.
Hopefully from a year from now, I'll have a real job.
Implying that any job you're working right now is not real.
I mean, I know. I was talking about somebody that with the other day because, like, the person that I was seeing was like, well, I have, like, a source of income. And I was like, I mean, so do I, but it's like... I'm like working 2 jobs, like one's 10 hours and one's 5 hours, and they both pay like single digit an hour. And so
the alcohol store over on the highway is looking for part-time employees.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
The alcohol store.
I'm in a position where I sometimes remember that I'm on the payroll for 3 different places right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't work an unbearable amount of hours a week because I'm mostly a student, but like... I've
literally been on the same payroll for over 6.5 years now.
Oh my god.
I'm going on 2.
I've had 3 jobs
I've
now.
ever had.
This somehow became a talk about work and jobs and finances, but that's fine.
That's fine.
If I think about how many... Let me see.
Feminism and real life.
Yes.
But I know people say that all the time. They're like, I'm like, oh, when I get a real job or whatever, and people are like, oh, the job you have now is real, and then I'm like, okay,
but
I don't know what adjective
what I mean.
to use then. Like when I have
a job in my
good paying
job,
a
job in my field, I study.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not saying the work I'm doing now isn't real,
it's fake.
But I'm like saying
it's
the
fake
work
news.
when I am working for a living rather than like working while also being a student while also like doing other things. Like I'm saying
job?
Yeah, I guess my first full-time job, I guess.
I've had like I'll consider what we do for pizza place as full-time because we get full-time hours. Yeah. But I've had 5 jobs in my lifetime so far, and I've been working.
I've had 3.
I've been working for 4 going on 5 years, so I've had like a job a year. But like, I don't know. It's interesting.
I think I've worked for 4 years now. Yeah.
Oh wait, I'll have worked for 4 years come October, so I'm only been in 3 years.
I can't remember when I started my first job. It was before
2 years on my sister's birthday.
Year or before junior year. I think it was before junior year. I'm currently a junior, so I've been working for more than 4 years.
I've
4.5.
Wow.
No, almost 5. Coming up on 5. 5 this summer.
Freshman in high school.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
I
honestly,
legally couldn't work like 2 months.
Oh yeah, you were under the OSHA like standards or whatever.
Yeah, so I like got back pay because I couldn't actually legally work, but I still worked.
I mean, that's fair.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That first check was me.
Our coworker, she's 15 right now, so she can't touch the pizza cutters because they're sharp objects.
She can't touch anything sharp or anything hot. That is a regulation rule.
Hilarious.
She can't wash the pizza cutters or like cut the pizza.
That's so dumb.
She like puts the.
She can put things in the oven. She can top. She can answer phones. She can take orders. And
she does dishes, but just not the knives.
She can't do any of the sharp dishes.
Or the pizza cutters.
And she has to leave by 7 p.m. That is a rule.
7 o'clock.
Wow.
She can't work any later than 7 p.m.
Damn.
or more than like 18 hours a week.
I
or
wish.
Yeah.
They didn't follow
Well,
that.
child labor laws are so important.
something. Well, back then it was
Yeah.
Because, and this kind of
It
relates
was
Oh,
to
a thing.
activism in a
They just
sense.
ignored it.
true. I
Yeah,
suppose.
it's
But
kind of
like-
activism.
But like, child labor laws are
Yeah,
so
it's
important
just
because if we
backwards to it.
go back
We're
to
just
the
like,
Industrial
Jerry, you
Revolution,
broke so many rules with Abbey.
So many laws.
I was talking over you, by the way, because I assumed you were just having a side
Yeah,
conversation.
it kind of was.
I
I don't know if it
saying
was-
how, we broke so many child labor laws with me. It was
You
funny.
probably shouldn't say that to the internet.
Nobody knows.
That's fair, but like, in terms of activism, like child labor rights and child labor laws are so important because we flash back to the Industrial Revolution, the amount of children who were getting sick and dying because of
Yeah.
terrible and abusive factory conditions.
And they just shouldn't have been
That's just
working.
I mean, the
Right.
only thing that they broke was that I worked 6 to 8 instead of to 7.
Oh well.
And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I wasn't technically supposed to work until like almost a year before I actually started working.
I mean, it's
But it's okay.
It's
I still
fine.
signed my paperwork, so it's fine.
it's fine. I mean, I didn't start working till I was 17, so I can't talk.
16.
I should have started earlier, but like I didn't. I liked
Probably
free
same.
time. It's fine.
I started pretty late.
Literally, it's fine.
But-
I was
okay.
like literally 18.
But you guys say like you didn't say you were
almost
start
18.
till you were 18. You will not believe how many people at Northwest like
haven't had a
we
job
like
ever?
the town we come from. Yes, maybe general America, maybe not, especially not upper class.
Oh, upper class America, I would
And
not
don't
expect
wanna,
them to work.
I don't want to stereotype or anything, but yeah, the amount of people I've met at Northwestern who have never worked a day in their life blows my mind. Like so many people.
How are they gonna get jobs? You know how many jobs are like, we want experience? It's like, well, how do you get experience
Kenny.
without working? Oh wait,
When mommy and daddy-
will, I was like, mommy and daddy will hire them.
Exactly. When mommy and daddy have all the connections.
Yeah, you're right. How could I be so stupid?
Yes, you plebeian.
I'm sorry. I'm
know,
not,
we've
I'm
learned
not
that
part of
we-
the bourgeois. I'm part of
Exactly.
the,
We actually
what's
have
the
to
other
work
class?
for a
The
living.
proletariat? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's bourgeois and then the one with the P.
I don't.
The working class starts with a P.
Going
I haven't read any
The
Karl Marx.
bourgeois is all that matters.
I don't
I
know
love
what-
bourgeois. It's my
I
favorite
don't know
word.
what in that would work.
I don't know what.
I
But it's just like, and I don't want to hate on people who have that because I mean, sure, if you have your connections, use them.
Right.
But it's also very much a thing where you should be cognizant of that. Very much
Right.
like where
Be aware of
be
your
aware of
privilege.
your
yeah.
yeah.
Where it's like
Hold on.
when you just assume that's the way everybody can like live.
And it's not. Oh
It's
boy.
definitely not. And it's just like, and it's kind of not fair. Like, in all honesty, it's not fair that, like, just because you were born to certain parents and I was born to different parents, I'm going to have to work way harder to try and get to a similar situation.
It builds
as you.
character.
It does.
Being poor builds character.
I don't argue.
Proletariat.
Proletariat? Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah.
Proletariat. We're part of the proletariat working class.
I don't argue that it builds character, but then I also don't want to say that people who have been, like, you know, have been given more don't have character either.
Right,
like,
right.
I don't want to say that either. But I also just think,
But that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
no, I'm
as
not
long
saying
as you're aware
that.
of it. You
Yeah.
just need to be aware.
I just,
yeah, a lot of it stems
Like,
from
even
awareness.
us, we are privileged because
oh, hell yeah.
Compared to a lot of people.
Comparatively, we come
Yeah.
from some pretty good privilege. Like I won't talk down to that. Like no, I do have privilege in my
You're
life.
white and male. We're all white.
Also, I don't need to worry about being hungry or not having
Yeah, I
a
mean,
place
we don't
to
live in
sleep.
poverty.
Like I have
by any means.
I
Just
have
lower
basic
middle class.
necessities.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was a thing. But here's something that I saw on the internet, because I'm constantly on the internet, if you haven't gathered that from every time I bring something up. There was a thing I saw, and it was like, here's a great distinction between people. There are people in this world who are like, I suffered when I was growing up, and I don't want other people to go through that. And there's also people that think, like, I suffered, so why don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's a very
Yep.
big distinction between people.
she hasn't
Uh-huh.
suffered enough.
She hasn't suffered enough. Yeah, like that's literally a thought that some people have, is like, I suffered, I went through hell and back, so other people have to do that too because it happened to me and it's not fair.
Yeah.
And that's a mentality that people have. Or like, you know, there's, if we're talking about the upper crust of society where they just don't even understand, like if you talk to them about like I can't relate to this either, but there are people that, like, say you take someone from, like, the very low end and someone from the very high end, and they're trying to explain to the very high end person that, like, sometimes they don't eat because they can't afford it.
And they
what are
just
the odds?
literally cannot
What are the odds they're gonna actually,
fathom.
like, comprehend what that means? Because I don't even think I can comprehend what it means to come home and be like, I don't have food to eat.
Yeah.
I know what it means to be that whiny teenager that comes home and says there's nothing to eat to a fridge full of food
Yeah.
because you're picky. But there are people who will open their fridge
And it's empty.
and there's nothing in there. There's, like, spoiled milk. Because that's what they get.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, like, even I can't comprehend that. So it's just, it's depressing.
It is
a little
depressing,
bit, but, like,
and I just like, and like where you're like, oh, as long as like they're aware of it, it's fine and stuff. And I'm like, to a point, I agree with that.
But they also have the
you-
expendable income to help if they so choose. That's how I do it.
Exactly, and I
Yeah.
just don't think it's enough. Like, personally, I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong that some people come home to a fridge full of food or whatever, and I think it's wrong that some people come home to a fridge with nothing.
I don't think it's wrong for people to come home to a fridge full of food. I do think
Okay,
I
think it's wrong that there's such inequality.
Oh yeah.
Like, for sure. And I don't think we can be content to be like, well, as long as people realize that more people are privileged
Like,
than
oh,
others,
they earned this
like,
money
that's
in
the end. Boom. No, I think we can realize that you have your privilege, and if you walk through life aware of that, that's good, but I don't think it stops there. I think...
Use it to help others.
Yeah, I
Right,
don't think
right.
that we should perpetuate these systems that keep people in poverty. Like, I think that's something that we very much, no matter what background you come from, that's something you need to be aware of and work to end.
I think that, I'll agree. I think that, like, a basic movement for everyone to get behind, which I don't see why a single person would disagree with this, is just to make sure that every person living, even if we just focus on America, if we adapt the ideal of America first, which was the mentality, I'm throwing back, by the way, to the campaigns that were used during World War II for America.
Isn't that something Trump has said too, though?
I believe
Yikes.
so.
We're focusing on America first.
But-
And there's
but-
like that one parody thing from like the Netherlands being like, America first, but Netherlands second, or whatever.
But, like,
And they're like mocking him kind of, but also
right.
not.
But, like, the
Anyways,
thought is, like, so if
off
we throw
topic.
back to America first and we focus
Show you
solely on
later.
American problems, which is a loose term in general because we are a globalized society, but that's that is hither and thither because the fact that we are a globalized society matters a lot.
That would be an interesting debate.
But even if we shut our eyes to everything that's happening in the world and focus on America, I don't see a single reason for any citizens of this country to disagree with the idea that we should be able to provide basic necessities for every single human being living in this country. I don't see why anyone would disagree that people should go without housing. I don't see why people should be thinking that people deserve to be hungry. I don't see why people would agree for the reason people don't deserve health care. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that even if we're just like, in America, our goal as Americans is to make it so that every single person has basic necessities, why would anyone disagree with that? Personally,
Like,
I
what
don't
was that
get it.
one thing where they tried it in like a community in Canada and also in some random country? They're like, give a basic wage to literally every single person who's like 18 and up. Like, just a base wage, like, to however many dollars a year, like a couple thousand, like 17,000 or something a year. And it's like, oh hey, they tried this and people still worked. What? Because
Right, like,
people are like, oh, if they give this base wage to everybody, people are just gonna live off that and not do any jobs and stuff. And it's like, hey, just because they had this base money doesn't mean they're not like, hey, if I work, I'll get more.
right?
Crazy.
It's like,
No, everyone's gonna quit their jobs and just live off this government money, and then they'll be unsustainable. It's like, no.
no. I feel like
that's
people
not how
get
that
so
would work.
bored. Like, if they're not doing anything, I'd be like,
Yeah.
I personally be like, I need to
I was
do
gonna say
something.
with your proposed situation where you're like, I don't see how anybody could disagree with that. People would.
People disagree with
Well, I-
that.
I know
the
people-
only way I think
know
people
people
would
disagree.
disagree with it would be that that you can't just give them that stuff that they would have to work
Well,
for.
I'm
And
not. I'm
I
not saying that that's wrong. I'm saying, like, even if we implement a system where it's like, if you're working and, like, let's say you're
Okay,
working
yeah.
full time, that, like, even if it's unskilled full time labor, you should be getting enough money where you can
Yeah.
A
you
living
can
wage.
afford
Okay.
you can
yeah,
afford
okay.
a small apartment. You could afford to feed yourself and possibly like 1 to 2 children.
Okay.
You should be able to have enough money to have a car, have an apartment, be able to support a family of like 3 or 4.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I think that being able to provide that basic necessity to every citizen shouldn't be controversial, and yet it is.
No, okay, yeah, I know. Well, that gets into the whole minimum wage issue.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree that I don't think that should be a debate. That if you're working legally, like if you're working a job making whatever money, that you should at least be able to have the basic human necessities.
Right. And like if you have a degree and you're doing skilled labor,
Life,
obviously
love,
you can make
it is,
more.
The pursuit of happiness.
You should like skilled labor should be paid more, and they should be allowed to have maybe
Life,
more lucrative lifestyles. But at the end of the day, every single person should at least be able to survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you know, like, why are we determining whether or not people can live or die based upon something as arbitrary as, like, the job they hold?
This might work better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good.
That's my take.
Yeah, and then it comes all full circle again
To another debate.
Because like, and then it goes back to like the welfare thing where it's like, okay, like if you were like a single mother and then made bad decisions, or you were in like a bad situation, then welfare is there as like a crutch too, so that you can still be provided with these basic human rights that we're talking about. But then you have people too who take advantage of like the system set in place.
Yeah, if there's a system like that, there's always going to be people who will take advantage of it. But like I said earlier, I believe that it's worthwhile because majoritively, statistically, it is helping people who actually need it.
Yeah, and like I don't know.
And who are trying their best to better themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's statistically that's
and
a
it's
fact.
like, I don't know, this is all Jesus-y, but it's like the whole thing where it's like, if someone, like, I'm quoting this wrong, but if like someone slaps you in the face, like give them the other cheek, or if they take your clothes, give them your coat, and like that kind of thing, where it's like, even if they take advantage of it, you gotta keep giving, because
that's what a good person would do.
It's just the right thing to do, and it's like, hopefully eventually, if they'll
stop being dicks.
Yeah, they'll stop. I mean,
Right.
they'll stop taking and be like, hey,
I have enough.
I can help now.
Yeah.
I can help others now, or something. I get that.
And just like the thing where it's like, even if people are taking advantage, that doesn't mean you should stop still
it's not
trying.
enough people taking advantage of it to make it not worth it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
and it's still the right thing to do. It's still the right thing to do to help people.
Yeah. So we've reached time, which is why I was kind of like, I had something I was going to bring up, but we reached time, so I'm not going to. So any closing thoughts? Are we good?
I think this is a good talk.
This
went
was
all over the place.
We went from feminism to basic human rights.
Yeah, wealth inequality.
Which is essentially
Just have a starting topic,
what-
and then it goes where it goes.
It was kind of social justice.
It was a social justice podcast, but you know what?
Randy. No,
that's fine.
I think it was an intelligent discussion of social issues.
I will second that statement and follow up my second.
We all kind of agree with each other on everything. So.
I know we don't have a conflicting opinion, which is like that would add to this.
I feel like we make it so much more heated. I feel like
for sure. I have a friend who goes to LCM who is like contrary to me in almost everything, and like. On one hand, it's like so frustrating because I get so pissed at this person, but then I think it's also good to have that in your life so that you're reminded that other people have different opinions and stuff like that. And like personally, deep down, I'm like, I'm gonna change his mind, but so we'll see.
Good luck.
Yeah. Anyways,
thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of the podcast. If you liked it, be sure to give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. We have awesome new content that comes out every weekday on this channel. And if you have a topic you would like us to talk about on the next podcast, feel free to leave it down below and we'll bring it up and talk about it. But yeah, just in general, stay awesome. You guys are cool. We will see you in another 2 weeks with another exciting episode of the Friends Forever